Hi everybody, it's Allison Durant coming to you from my studio in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And you can see Oakley, my little rescue buddy. Oakley, come here, come get your ball, come here. So Oakley, his article in What Women Create magazine, good boy, it comes out this Thursday in stores here in Canada. And Oakley's just gonna take his treat ball while I do my video. And yeah, so I'm so excited to share. For those of you that follow me on YouTube here, you know that Oakley is in the pet tales section of What Women Create magazine. I'm just looking to see if I have one handy, and I think I have them all in the other room because I've been studying them a bit. Let me just see, do I have any here? Where are we? Aha, here's one. This is the most recent, winter 2024 to 2025. So I will be in the next one, which features on the cover a beautiful ceramic artwork with a gorgeous turquoise cover, so you won't miss it. And I checked the stores because I'm so excited, but again, it comes out this Thursday at Indigo stores, and at least here in Canada, Indigo had taken over Chapters. So in the back of What Women Create, I mean, I could just get stuck flipping through all of these pages, but the pet tales section is often towards the back of the book. And so the article was written through the eyes of Oakley, my little rescue poodle who you just saw. And I'm just gonna see if they have a pet tales section in here. So really the article is more about Oakley than about what I create, but it's sort of about what the story that Oakley and I have created together. And so I'm just gonna see. So this just features women from all over the world, artists, creatives, and all the really unique things that they make. And there's also, the same publisher produces something called Where Women Create, and something sort of along the lines of women in the workplace. So I just love just this magazine. It's really wonderful. I do hope one day to get what I create in here. So that's sort of like a goal of mine. And I'm not seeing the pet tales section in the table of contents. And maybe it's just in some of the editions, not all of them. And I can't recall if I flipped this through before on my video with you all. You can just kind of get a feel for it. Oh, I love that quilted jacket with all those beautiful patterns. Really, really beautiful. So maybe is this it's cute. So even though this isn't the pet tales section, a lot of artists have their furry friends in photos, which I love. So much color in this issue. And I have not done a video for a little while. My family, specifically my husband, he has been homesick. Just this past week, he was homesick for a number of days. And in the 20 years or so that we've been together, I've never known him to be so sick. So I was sort of in that caregiver role, and he's back to work and feeling slightly better. But my son and I think, are fighting off whatever that virus is. So I feel good, but I'm just gonna do a shorter video today. And I really I missed everybody. I've missed doing videos, and a lot of you have written to me and want to see what I've been working on, and just said you've missed my videos, which I'm so, so grateful for. So thank you. And I wanted to share with you, this is a collection that I had done. Let's just see if I have the date on it. Feels like ages ago, 2021. And it was from my collection titled Skeletons in My Closet. I mean, we all have skeletons in our closet. And for me, I definitely have skeletons in my closet, and I'm not gonna go into that, the detail. It's sort of around my mental health and my OCD and things that are very sort of personal to me as a human, and also part of why I create. But this collection, I actually use those little skeleton cabochons. So for those of you that follow me, you'll know that I started out as a jewelry designer, a jewelry artist, and that's quite a long story of how I went from making jewelry while I was working as a registered nurse to finding out I had a very severe allergy and having to stop making jewelry, and eventually I found art journaling. I'm going to chat a little bit about that today. But this, these are just, so I had done a collection titled Skeletons in My Closet. And again, it was like a play on words because I title my paintings based on my relationship with creativity. And this collection, I just loved incorporating these skeleton glass cabochons, those patterns in here. They're kind of that, the Day of the Dead, Cinco de Mayo, which is coming up in May, I believe. And I wanted to do sort of a folk art, really bright, colorful collection on black paper. I actually used a Strathmore black toned paper, and I used black gesso to make it even darker. And then I used Posca pens, and you can see that reticulated texture that I love so much in my work. That was really easy to achieve. I just used I might even have it here, a bright neon orange paint jar. Where is it? Here it is. I didn't like that this has toxicity, but I know the state of California often puts these warnings on. Anyways, I'm sidetracking. I always wear gloves when I use these products, but I just loved this fluorescent orange yellow paint by Golden. And I had taken a dollop and put it down on a piece of paper and then put the paper here to place the inside of this abstract flower. And it was so much fun. And I had also achieved some of that reticulated pattern in those lower pieces from, again, putting down blobs of paint and smushing it together, pulling it apart, and then became my collection that just, I don't know how I decided to add these little skeleton cabochons. They were bracelets at one point, but you can just see this guy peeking out. This one was in my art journal, I believe, because I did not use the skeleton cabochon in there. But oddly enough, I'm really prolific, and I paint in quantity. When I paint, I usually paint at least 2 to 4 paintings at a time. I work on them simultaneously, and then eventually one of them comes together a bit faster. Then I go back to another one. It's just a really great way of staying out of your head. But to make this story shorter, I had done a collection of probably 6 to 8 works of skeletons in my closet with these little cabochons, and I had launched the collection. It was successful. I had sold them all, and I think I just was really at a stage in my life. I mean, art is my life. I was launching the collection and I wanted to finish probably 8 to 10 pieces instead of maybe the 6 to 8 I put in the collection. This one wasn't quite done yet, so it went in a pile of paper and I had totally forgotten about it. I feel like looking at it, it's almost done. It just needs maybe, I can see I started the inside of a flower here, and I just need to sort of add some details and finish it. But somebody, so again, 2021, when I launched this collection, I didn't even know I had this piece of paper, this almost finished work in a pile in my art studio, which is another reason I'm cleaning out my art studio right now. Such a big goal of mine because I am really prolific. I tend to get, I guess, sort of, I don't know about bored is the right word, but I paint for serotonin and dopamine, and I get all these works. And when I do a collection, I could finish more, but it's just the timing. Like, you know, something will come up in my life and I'll be called to family matters. So I'll abandon finishing pieces that were meant for a collection. So I feel like I'm really rambling today, but someone had reached out on my Instagram and said, I am obsessed with this collection. I want to buy all of them. And I think she had seen when I had set up an Instagram shop, which I don't use, but I forgot that I had posted them on there. So I forgot to take them down. They look like they were for sale. And anyway, I told her, I'm pretty sure I have some of these in my art space. Let me just look through I didn't say look through my pile, because I don't think as an art collector that's something you want to hear. But anyways, she's jumped on them, and I sent her photos. I'm gonna finish them, but I just wanted to share with you a couple things. First, the benefits of working in an art journal, because I discovered how much I loved certain materials on this Strathmore black toned paper. The Posca pens, I loved the gold metallics, I loved smushing bright color paint, and it took a while to figure that out in terms of what paints looked brightest, because I love those brights in my work. So you can see that I had a gorgeous purple here, but that one's, it wasn't as bright. So I had gone back and I found that fluorescent orange. These paintings did take quite a long time, and the reason for that is they're in layers. With Posca pen in particular, you want to let those layers dry in between. So I'm just seeing if I have any Posca pens. Yes, I do. I'm going to get a few. So these are examples of what I'm talking about when I refer to Posca paint pens, and there are some better brands that have come out, so you just really have to find a brand you like. And when you put this down on the paper, you just have to know that you need to go over it multiple times. So, you know, make a mark, let it dry, and then go back to it after it's dry. I can't seem to shake this one up. This is by Edding. I believe it was made in Germany. And I'm just trying a few different acrylic paint markers. I have a mind map underneath here, so I'll just get that pen going. And there's a little cartridge in the middle I'm just trying to activate by shaking it really hard here. Anyways, I notice there's a bit of white here, so I'm just going over this area with my paint pen. And when that's dry, I will go back to it again and add more paint pen, particularly with the white. When those first lines are dry, you want to go back to them because you want that really opaque color to show up on the dark toned paper. And maybe we can do a video at some point of sort of this style. And yeah, it was just too funny that this person reached out, and I was like, it forced me to go to my studio and see what all I forgot that I had there. And I might actually do a studio clearance sale, like an Instagram sale, I think Instagram stories is a great way. All these works that, you know, are from a collection and just need a little bit of TLC to be finished, you know, how do you move those on when you're an artist? And I think I need a studio sale because they're still wonderful works. They just weren't quite finished, and the collection would launch, and then I was left with these, you know, these piles in my studio. So I'd love your thoughts on that. I find that, yeah, I guess that's sort of like the business chat of art. Okay, and that brings me to so much I want to talk about. I'm just gonna see, you guys are fully elevated there. The camera angle, I'm just gonna make a bit of space. Maybe I'll tilt this a little bit. And this is a piece. This is an 11 by 14 inch acrylic piece on paper, Bristol paper. So in my recent videos, we've been doing a little bit of that reticulated style that I love with my acrylic inks, and Just looking to see if I have some of that there. I think it's in the other room. But we've been using Bristol paper, and I love Bristol paper. So this is the type of smooth, heavy paper I've been working on with my recent collection. Oh, and Oakley needs to go outside, so I'm gonna just show you the second one that I've been working on while I let Oakley out. And so Oakley didn't have to go out, but he has this cute little peanut butter Kong. Now this, for those of you that are animal owners, you'll know that you always want to use a real peanut butter and make sure your animal can have that. But Oakley, who's, you can see just in the corner here, I stick this onto our window, and I really picked a bad place because when he scratches, sometimes I can't tell, does he want the peanut butter or does he want to go out? So again, only feed your animals real, natural peanut butter. Dogs in particular, well, you know, dogs can have peanut butter, but without the xylitol or those artificial anything. You just want it to be pure peanut butter. So that's just because I'm sharing it, and it's my little announcement, right, Oakley? Because we want to keep our animals healthy and not make them sick. There's so many additives now, even for people. Here you go. Can you go take that somewhere? Here you go, let's put it over here in your bed. Come here. There you go. Okay, so Oakley's got his peanut butter, and there we go, back to our painting. So where was I? Bristol paper is a lovely paper to work on. I hope to do a video sharing this new kind of style. I feel like it's a new style for me, and I, as you know, love watercolor. I love painting really loose with mark making over top, but I needed to paint looser. I paint in order to kind of quiet my mind and to feel a sense of calm and joy and really tune out all the world noise. Right now, there's so much noise going on in the world. And for me, this is just my outlet. So I'm trying to find a way to loosen my style so it's more free and I enjoy it all that much more, because I really like to do my art poetry watercolor paintings. So, you know, just as an example, if you're new to my channel, this would be an example of my art poetry painting titled A New Dawn. And this is my artist card deck where I'd written find the magic in each moment. So this, I feel, is sort of a style I'm known for. Really loose watercolor with mark making over top. So this one says hold on to hope. That was what the painting had said, those words. And find peace in the present is what my art poetry card says. So just a little example of what's in my card deck and how it differs from this acrylic style. Now, this was a style that I would say when I first started painting, I painted with acrylics. I didn't like watercolor, and then I kind of found that style in watercolor, and I did love it. But the thing I loved the most was those loose watercolor backgrounds, and I tend to tighten up to do the fine details. So when we had like minus 35 degrees Celsius wind chills here in Calgary just a few weeks ago, I had the worst cabin fever, and I feel like this collection, I might have to title it something about cabin fever, breaking cabin fever, because I just needed to loosen up. I needed to be free. I needed to find that therapy that I love when I paint, and then make it into a style I feel like might be recognizable. So you can see my polka dots. You can see the botanicals that I've kind of stamped in here. Those are real botanicals I've stamped. I just made those reticulated stamps that you can see. There's one of them up here. So I'm doing a lot of stamping in my work with stamps that are my own. So I'm really trying to find my style again, but with acrylics on paper and in sort of more loose than I ever have before. This one I'm actually really pleased with. My friend Kathy, well, I have to tell you, I have to thank my friend, and she's a neighbor actually. She lives super close to me, and she has decorated her whole carriage suite. So in Calgary we have these like kind of like nanny suites, but they're beautiful spaces above 2 or 3 car garages here in Calgary, and that's just how the city created this neighborhood and said we want so many places that have these carriage suites. So Kathy has, I would say, decorated her whole carriage suite with my art. I've lost track of how many pieces of my art she has purchased, but we became friends through, you know, meeting and her coming to pick up my art. And she watches my videos and had this brilliant idea for, well, first, she knew that I might really enjoy collage paper with music notes, and I swear it was like she was reading my mind, because she her son plays classical music, and he had this beautiful book of collage paper. I'm just seeing if I have it here. Yeah, here it is. And she also gave me some stamping blocks, and I have now finished making these stamps that I had shown in my last video. Okay, so here's this beautiful classical music book, and I just love incorporating this type of thing in my work. I love listening to music. I almost feel like when I see this piece that was really intuitive, it reminds me of, you know, music that I might have been listening to while I was painting, just because of the energy in it, the movement of the marks. And again, I do hope to teach this kind of thing with you all. But, you know, dictionary paper, music note paper, you know, papers, maybe old letters, historical papers, they can be really wonderful to incorporate into your art as like underlayers, or, you know, layers that are visible. Also, I don't see a whole lot of stamping. I have not totally finished this. I think it's super close to being done, but I'm still working on this collection. And I just wanted to share, I had purchased some new colors of this Ranger archival ink, permanent waterproof, this ink pad, and that's what I've been using to stamp in my work. So I have just this blank sheet of watercolor paper, and I can show you a few stamps. So Kathy had kindly, she'd watched my video and said, you know, I have some extra wood blocks from when I used to make my own stamps, and she had some, so basically some plain wood blocks, and they had a slightly adhesive, one side was a bit stickier, and then I used like a double-sided adhesive, it's like a foam core. So I'm just gonna see, I don't have a piece here right now, but if you got to the point where you watched my last video where I had created these acrylic stamps out of that reticulated pattern with dried up acrylic paint, you know, this is what I ended up with, right? I would cut it out, cut that acrylic stamp that I had made out of the Bristol paper, and then take off that double-sided adhesive and mount it to a wood block. So, I mean, I'm still learning. There's so many great videos on how to make your own stamps. So I do encourage you, if you're interested, to consider making your own stamps. I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. And so this is sort of that reticulated style that I love in my work. And then I also I was into carving these little blocks. this is just an example of one that I had carved. I had bought a book on how to make my own stamps. I forget the name, but again, there's so many videos out there. And it's almost like you could use, you know, I think some people do use what erasers are made out of, those rubber, pink rubber erasers. I forget the name, is it linoleum? But anyway, I love the idea of making my own mark making it and incorporating it into future collections, because I'm at the place in my art sort of, you know, my art style, my art business, that I just want to make sure everything in my art feels authentic to me. It feels like it's my own. And funny, because this stamp reminds me of apples. I also see little cats, but sort of like a little apple, almost in the shape of a heart. And I spent a lot of my childhood summers in Nova Scotia. And when I was younger, I would bring my teachers, when I would go to Nova Scotia for the summer, I would come back, and in September, when I was starting a new grade, I would bring the teacher an apple from Nova Scotia. At that time, we could just do that. And, you know, they'd have these specialty apples. And I just remember that was just such a fun thing. And I just love apples, their symbolic nature, also the health properties. My husband and I are both in healthcare, so, you know, an apple a day, it, you know, keeps the doctor away. Okay, I'm gonna figure out now what direction I want to go in. So I've shared with you a few things that have been kind of going on, and I'm really excited, actually. This book I had purchased a while ago. It was a big splurge through Fidon. I'll link this, but it's called Flower. Just this page makes me want to paint with collage and watercolor and layers. It's exploring the world in bloom. And it is really influencing. I just decided to kind of like flip through it last night, and I was looking at the color palette that I've been using with those paintings I had just shared with you. So I'm just gonna see if I can pull. This is one that's still in progress, so I've not yet finished it. You can see a lot of etching. You can see the stamping of these little daisies. You can see the music notes from that classical music book right over here. And if I pull out, I will do another video where I'm gonna probably paint with you all with these colors in this abstract style. Let me know if you would enjoy that. And I feel like that would just be really fun. So the colors that I had used in this most recent collection are, I'll just quickly read them out, but I'm not gonna go through them in a lot of detail in this video. But I used Luminous Rose, and that was by Golden, number 582. Pyrrole Red by Amsterdam, Fluid Acrylics in number 315. Olive Green Deep in Amsterdam Fluid Acrylic, number 62. And those two, when mixed, make this beautiful, beautiful color, this magenta, this neutral color. I use Liquitex Basics acrylic paint in green gray and blue gray. I used Golden Fluid Acrylic in Titan Green Pale. I used Bright Orange in, where is it? Very affordable DecoArt Americana paint. I had used Amsterdam acrylic in Venetian Rose, that beautiful light pink. Just have a few of them here. I have Deep Yellow from Daler Rowney, and then adding a little white to the Amsterdam gave me this color. And this is Luminous Rose plus Pyrrole Red. So those two made that color. I am preparing for teaching in person for April 1st of this year at an art store we have here in Calgary, and I'm teaching art journaling and also my art poetry style. But in preparation, I wanted to make these little art journals and kind of actually use the art journal so I can speak about it when I'm teaching. So I put the date, February 2025, it's now March, but I had started this little one-page journal at that time. I was cleaning off my paintbrush, so I did the cover while I was cleaning off my brush to prevent waste. You can see where I've stamped it, and then the inspiration I have had for my recent collection is right here. I also discovered the music notes, and I feel like art journaling is a wonderful place to discover. I also discovered using different art supplies over top of the music notes, the gelatos. So that's what's in here. These sort of water-soluble crayons are just such a fun thing to play with in your art journal over papers. And the handmade stamps, which ones did I use? So I'd stamp them in here. And then also, what pen did I sign my collection with? And that was the Pigma Micron 0.6 millimeters. So I'm just kind of documenting almost backwards. So instead of choosing a color palette from somewhere and making the paintings based on the marks, I made the paintings, and then I am now recording my discoveries in my art journal. So it's a little bit backwards, but it's been a lot of fun. I also want to talk with you all about how to finish a painting. So at some point, I'll do a video on that. And this painting's really close to being done. I think I'm going to add a bit more of the bright pink just to balance out this side. I wanted to kind of change this area up. This would be, if you're thinking about the rule of thirds composition, if I divided my sheet in the rule of thirds, I would want a point of interest at one of these places and also some resting space, but I feel like there's just too much orange going on up here. So I made collage on a more neutral paper. If you've been following me, you know that I love that rule about adding in neutrals to downplay all the brights, because I just love bright colors. So adding in those neutrals highlights those brights. This is a great example right here, is that bright pink underneath. That was the luminous rose and the pyrrole red. But then I added those neutral colors, those Liquitex green grays and blue grays, and it made this area pop even more. So moving on. Oh, yeah, what I wanted to show you was when I was flipping through this magazine, I was so excited to find pages that reminded me of the color palette I just chose at random. Where was it? So this was one of them. It's a photograph, Sharon Core, and it's untitled. Oh, in brackets it says Drama Queen. It's archival pigment print, a print, and I just saw this color palette and how it matched, and I thought that is just really, really neat. And maybe I'm just seeing it match because I've been working in these colors so much. Of course, I added in this deep bright yellow and the blue, but there is a little bit of that green blue, gray blue up here in that pod. So I was really excited last night to find some paintings that were almost in that color palette. Okay, this one wasn't. I just found this painting so interesting. Flowers for Lisa, it's titled, by Abelardo Morel. And I know my timer is going to go pretty soon because I get so excited and I just want to find that other page. Here's Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers. Where was that? Was it this one? I don't know if it was this one. I think in this piece, I just was noticing that olive green color and how much I liked it. That deep yellow with almost like this Amsterdam pink and possibly a little bit of luminous rose in here lightened up. But I really, really love this piece from Roses of My Garden series by Nick Knight, hand-coated pigment print. But this just is so stunning. So, you know, thinking about what you have maybe on your bookshelf, or if you go to the library, or if you're on Pinterest, say, what are those, what speaks to you in terms of photographs or paintings? So in terms of visual art, you know, being able to pick out what is it? Is it the color palette? Is this composition? Really figuring out what do you enjoy about this. And for me, I think just knowing that these are the colors I'm really enjoying right now, I can see why I really enjoy this piece. I mean, it's a beautiful piece, right? And there was another one, but I just can't seem to find it. There's just so much inspiration in here. Maybe it could have been, I suppose it could have been this one. These little pops of blue flowers reminded me so much of when I had taken some flowers that my husband gave me and they were just on their way out, drying up and sort of falling apart. I used this blue paint with a little bit of white and I stamped with the flower, and it just kind of reminds me of that mixed in with all of these beautiful other colors. And then funny, I see the skull popping out, Alexander McQueen floral skull. I'm not really big into skulls, but I do like that theme of Cinco de Mayo, Day of the Dead, some of those traditions that they have in Mexico. I'm just looking for, where is that painting? Sometimes simplicity in line work. Franco B, view from the ground from a corpse. That's a little bit darker in the title, view from the ground from a corpse. And, you know, I feel like sometimes the title of the painting, for me as an art collector, as well as an artist, it can almost gravitate me away from the work or pull me in. So this title, it's a little bit morbid for me when you're thinking about the ground from a corpse, but you could also be thinking about it in a very positive, more of a bright way. So I think that's just so interesting. You know, how do you, if you are selling your work, or do you title your work? If you're not selling, do you have words that you can put with your work? And, you know, how do you find kind of meaning, and how do you describe your art? You know, that's this visual language, but how do you put it into writing? And one of my goals as an artist right now, I have so many goals, but writing is a big thing. When I go to write even something simple like an Instagram post, or say, you know, I keep my video descriptions on here very basic, very simple. I find I get very tight with writing. I also don't want to use AI. I have made that commitment to myself. As good of a tool as it is and how helpful it can be for me personally, I just don't want to go there. So that is a commitment to myself, that I'm not going to have artificial intelligence influence my art or my writing. Even though I struggle with writing, I know that, you know, the very few times I've tried ChatGPT or AI, it just hasn't felt authentic to me. And there's my timer, super cute hippopotamus anonymous. So thanks for being with me. Do let me know your thoughts about what you'd like to see in some of my next videos, and I hope to share more inspiration with you soon. Take care. Bye now.